What is up, Ravens flock? We Bleed Purple podcast is back, and we are covering the potential free agents that the Ravens can possibly sign heading into free agency starting on Monday with the legal tampering period and the free agent period beginning itself on March 11th. Daniel Wilcox, Matt Trigger, and still been kind of quiet on the Ravens home front, Wilcox. Still no Lamar contract extension yet. Still no Tyler Linderbaum extension. He was offered a records or a market-setting deal by Eric DeCosta a couple of days ago. He has not signed that deal yet, but we're going to be covering some guys that we can potentially target in free agency and through trade before the NFL draft next month. So first
Yeah.
and foremost, Wilcox, what's your feeling on this whole Lamar Jackson of it all? It's still no deal, and we got just about a week left.
I think a lot of this is due to Lamar not having an agent still to this day. You got to have somebody that's going to speak on your behalf and knows exactly what you're trying to need, or knowing exactly what the market desires and what you can actually acquire from the market at the time. And Lamar has a lot of things on his mind, including trying to get ready for the next season. So I just can't see it being like a hot level of importance to him to try to get this deal done right away, as an agent would be pushing hard for it because that's his job to get the damn deal done. It's not Lamar's job to get the
Right.
deal done, even though he's his own agent. So I think he's in a tough space, and I think there is no priority set by him on his side to get it done right now, even though that the Ravens should be prioritizing it because that does wonders for our cap hit. I think it's like a 70-some million-dollar cap hit if we don't get the deal done right now. If we get it done, it'll drop down to like 40 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it behooves the Ravens organization to get this deal done and get it done in a very timely manner. And I just don't understand why it hasn't, been put on ink to paper already. So it's crazy, but it's the off season, man. I'm sure he's enjoying his off season. It's probably hard to get in touch with. He's probably trying to get away from football and just disconnect totally, which we all do because we have to get away from this game at some point. We pour so much of ourselves into it that you have to disconnect completely from it for at least a week or two. Some guys want to be left alone for a month while they're enjoying this break because it's only about a month off before you're right back at it.
That's a fair point. I'm kind of interested to see how this is all going to play out because right now we only have about $22 million in cap space. We
Right.
talked last week about a lot of the moves that needed to be made, and Lamar Jackson was one of them. Tyler Linderbaum was another one of
Mm-hmm.
them. There's a growing sentiment amongst a lot of the talking heads in Baltimore that Tyler Linderbaum might be gone, and if he hits free agency and he gets to that legal tampering period, somebody is going to pay a lot of money to have his services. So the Ravens could very well enter next Wednesday and be looking for a center as well as a guard, a defensive tackle, an edge rusher, and potentially a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Um, and that's worrisome because a lot of us like Tyler Linderbaum. He was the first round pick for us. We traded back into the first round to get him. He was the draft pick that we got for Hollywood Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that a lot of these things still haven't taken shape yet, and we're less than a week away from the actual free agency period. Monday, teams can start offering contracts. We saw the first big move today. Buffalo acquired DJ Moore for a second round pick
Mm-hmm.
for the upcoming draft. So Buffalo might be out of the market for a wide receiver. We just don't want to see everybody pass us by. And Eric DeCosta kind of doubled down lately, Wilcox, and he said that we're a draft and develop team as opposed to a free agent team. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
I think we need to prioritize winning. I don't give a shit what it takes to get us there. Um, when I think about the development of our players, it doesn't seem like we have developed a lot of players recently. And I'm just thinking about the players that we've had, like Owe got out of here. The other edge rushers that we drafted seemed like they was non-existent for the last 3 years or whatever. We've tried to fix problems every year for Lele. I mean, that wasn't a damn. That was a development disaster. So it's just I haven't seen the development, of players the way. If Eric said that, I just haven't seen that. If you now a couple of examples I can say, I really feel like, Tylan Wallace is a guy that should deserve more playing time. He's a guy I really like. I feel like he's developed into a really solid receiver, but he just hasn't had the number of plays to really display his true talent. I think he's physical. He seems to play really hard. He plays tough. He runs strong when he catches the ball. And he runs really good crisp routes, and he got great hands. And then the Tez Walker kid, I think he's done a good job too, as far as developing.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the receiver room is developing. The quarterback room definitely has not developed. Lamar has, but nobody else has. Snoop is just a dog. He's done well for us. But the two backups we had last season before Snoop came back, I'm like, I was biting my nails trying to figure out what
you weren't a Cooper Rush guy at all.
No, I wasn't. And then the D line just hasn't. We of course we lost Meta DK, but the D line didn't look well at all to me as well. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I would love to see guys get developed here and us be able to continue to groom them, allow them to play, and continue to become the franchise that we've always been. But right now I just feel like we're struggling in the development department, and I don't care what it takes. To me, the free agent market is just like the transfer portal in college. The transfer portal is just like free agency in NFL. So it's you can grab great guys from free agents. Hell, I'm a free agent right now, so if Eric want to pull me back in, I mean, I'm available.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to develop me, though. I can tell you that much.
You're going to pull a hamstring walking down the steps of the practice field.
Exactly. Not just pull it, Matt, but pop it. It might come off the bone. No, it's bad. It's bad.
So let's get into the free agents a little bit. Wilcox, I know it's been a little bit of a whirlwind in the NFL, but two of the top free agents right now in the league are Trey Hendrickson and Jalen Phillips, who are both edge rushers. They've been linked to us with different reports, but right now, as it stands, Lamar Jackson is the key to opening up this cap space. But Hendrickson would be interesting. He's a former Bengal. He's made it crystal clear he's not going back there. They don't take care of any of their guys if it's not a wide receiver or quarterback. It seems like. He's 31 years old. Had 17 and a half sacks 2 years ago. He was up and down with injuries this past year. I think he sat out a little bit because he wasn't feeling it. I would love to see Trey Hendrickson here, but that essentially eats up most of our cap. And if you sign Henderson, you don't sign Linderbaum. So that's really a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Jalen Phillips is a year and a half removed from tearing his Achilles when he was on the Dolphins. He's 27, had a good year with the Eagles last year. He would fit here, but he's going to get a lot of money. He's going to probably see about $25 million a year on the open market. Interesting enough, there's Odafe Owe is in the top 5 projected free agents by ESPN. Rasheed Walker, Alex Pierce, wide receiver, and Tyler Linderbaum round out the 6 free agents. It's crazy because I don't think Odafe Owe is going to come back.
I don't think we can afford him.
Oh no, not now. I mean,
10 sacks later. He's out of our price range now. We should have just kept him.
There's no way. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. We could have just kept him and worked out a contract negotiation to keep him here a little longer. But Jesse Martin knocked something, and he's about to be a very rich man because of it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they're going to be at least a little bit active. They got to find edge guy, but I think they're going to really go along the lines of somebody like Khalil Mack or just somebody in that mid-30s range.
That's a good question by Joe.
That's a good question, Joe. That is a good question.
What do you think,
It
Matt?
did
You
kind
answer
of throw
that.
me off
Go
my
ahead.
roll a little bit, but
It's all right. Switch it
um,
up. We'll come back. We'll come back to Khalil, Matt. Go ahead. What do you think?
yeah, yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it was wrong because there's a whole new coaching staff, a whole new playbook. It's new verbiage. It's new plays. It's new, you know, you know, it's new everything. So Lamar should be here for everything, and he was right. I agree with him.
I think it was a horrible
I mean,
idea.
you. I mean, I get it. I get why you say it was a horrible
I
idea,
think it
but
was a horrible idea. I think,
in the same breath, Wilcox, you got you know.
well, to me, it's kind of like a OC is kind of the husband in the relationship, and the quarterback is the wife in the relationship, or vice versa, right? So one thing you never do to a man is call him out in front of everybody. You don't confront a man in front of his girl, or you don't confront a man in front of his boys. The wife don't talk crazy to the husband in front of his friends because she gonna get whiplash. It's gonna hit him right back in
Yeah,
the face because he's gonna feel like you're testing his manhood in a way. He could have that same conversation in private with Lamar. Say, hey Lamar, I really need you to be here. New staff, new offense, new timing. We got to be on the same page with this. If you can't be here, then hey, let's figure this shit out. Hell, I'll come to you. I don't give a damn what I have to do. If I was Lamar's coach, I don't know what I would do. I would do some innovative type shit to try to make sure this shit works. But the chemistry definitely needs to be there. It needs to happen. Lamar needs to be in camp. He needs to report early. It would show the rest of the team that he's ready to do whatever it takes to go win the Super Bowl. So, but I just don't agree with him doing it out in public before saying it in private to Lamar. And I don't know, maybe he did. Maybe he had a conversation with Lamar already and it didn't go the way he wanted it to go. So he decided to say it out loud to maybe get the world behind his back. I don't know what it was, what the scenario is, but I just don't think the way you come in as a new OC to a franchise like this with a quarterback like Lamar, and then you put him on blast in front of the world and just try to see how he's going to react to it. I don't really know what that shit is about. It's either going to go in your favor and he's going to show up, or it's going to backfire like hell, and he's not going to come at all to camp. And he say, "Fuck it, find me." And then now you starting off with some kind of resistance right away, where he like, "Fuck this dude." So and then he gonna be like fuck Lamar, so it's gonna be that back and forth. And you just seen something very similar to this play out in Cleveland with Shador and Stefanski, and it was really
that's
weird how
true.
it all went down. It was a media shit show all year long, and everybody was trying to figure out what the hell is going on with Cleveland with the backup quarterback and the OC and the head coach or whatever. Shit was weird. Like, why would you even want to remotely start anything like that when you first get to an organization like this? I don't know. I don't like it. Sorry, man.
Yeah. I mean, no, I get it. I hear you, Wilcox. I totally get it. Like from that standpoint, it makes sense what you're talking about, and
Mhm.
I don't think that Declan Doyle would have went out on a limb and said something like that without at least kind of talking to Lamar about it at first. I don't think anything's holding back Lamar from a contract though. Um,
Yeah.
I think that he's pretty much laying back and waiting for the Ravens to make an offer he can't refuse. Because he's in a position now where he's going to make his money either way. He's either making the 70 million this year, or he's going to make another almost 400 million the next 6 years. That's what it's looking like right now. So
Yeah.
to me, he's in a no lose situation. He's going to play at that inflated cap number, or he's going to get a record setting extension. So it all just depends on how urgent Eric and Steve are about opening up 35 to 40 million in cap to get this deal done, because now entering free agency with 22.5 million as opposed to 60 million, 65 million is a vastly different situation, Wilcox, because
Yeah.
now you can add a veteran offensive lineman, you can add a veteran wide receiver, you can add another cornerback if you got to, because I truly think that Marlon Humphreys played his last down as a Raven. So you're going to have to go find somebody to replace him. I think
Great
that if he's not traded in the next couple of days, he might be a trade on draft night.
Right.
So and I see him going to, honestly, I see him going up north and following Harbaugh. That's where it makes the most sense to me.
Gotcha.
But there's guys out there that can add value to this team. One interesting wide receiver I wanted to talk to you about while we're talking about the offense and Lamar Jackson. Mike Evans is a free agent from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not saying that we can necessarily afford to give him $15 or $20 million a year,
Right.
but it wouldn't hurt to see if he would bite on a 2-year, $25 million deal with some incentives to get it up to 35 or 40 and give him a chance to play with Lamar Jackson for a year. But it's interesting. He's available. I don't think Alec Pierce is in our price range. I think he's going to see top of the market money, from some team is going to overpay him. No doubt some team will definitely overpay Alex Pierce. Another interesting name I wanted to bring up to you, Will Cox, and you actually talked to me about him after the Super Bowl, and that is the cornerback number 27, Reek Woolen, the one that almost blew the game.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid a lot of money. Do you think he's a viable replacement for Marlon Humphrey?
I do. I like that kid. I think he's a heck of a football player. And I like the tenacity that he plays with and the attitude and the chip that he plays with on his shoulder. I think he'll be a great fit for our defense. I think Weaver is going to come in and try to out physical people. He's going to try to get back to playing Ravens football on defense. So I think bringing in physical guys that has a little chip on their shoulder with a little attitude, with a little sauce to them, I think are valuable prospects for this defense this year for sure. I don't even think it's a doubt in my mind that we're going to go with some bigger physical guys at the DB spot, like the Chris McAllister types.
Right.
To come up and be physical with great hands, great ball skills, and then just be able to play man to man. I kind of love Nate Wiggins. I want to see Nate Wiggins get put in more one-on-one situations where he's playing man in our zone. Last year I just think we kind of put him at a disadvantage, playing 15 yards off the ball and having to play catch with everything. You basically giving up everything underneath. You got to come up and play and be a good tackler, and I just want to see us get back to playing aggressive at DB. I don't like the way we've been playing at all. So, and as far as you talking about Mike Evans, this, I want to say this right here, Matt, this is important for me because when I think about our offense, I think we got a ton of weapons. I think we got a bunch of guys we can get the ball to receiving wise. Mike Evans is a sure-handed receiver. We need somebody that's definitely a sure-handed guy. I just don't think we need somebody that's a big name guy. And I think Mike Evans' name is too big to come here. Just like a lot of these guys that are out there. Even the Hollywood Brown. I see Joe said something about Hollywood Brown, and even him. He was a guy that was a little bit that wanted to be a big name receiver. Maybe he's humbled himself now and he's ready to come back or whatever, and he's gonna be low key and he don't mind. Being number 2, number 3, or whatever here in Baltimore, because that's what you're going to have. Whoever comes in will have to be a number 2, number 3, a number 1 type receiver, but to be a number 2, number 3 guy here with a Mark Andrews. Hopefully we get Likely back, and then Zay Flowers, all these guys we have. I just think we got a bunch of talent here already. But I don't think we need to bring in anybody who has a big name because it's just going to cause a rift. Like we was talking about the A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown from Philly coming in for a minute. And I just didn't think that would be a good fit for us because he's a guy that really wants the ball. He's a T.O. type, a Randy Moss type. I just think, Antonio Brown type, that he's a guy that's going to demand, I want the ball. And this ain't the type of offense where you could really do that with all this talent.
That's a fair assessment. I'll give you that. I would love to see Mike Evans here, but like you said, the name, it's too big still. He's going to go somewhere and get I believe a nice sized contract from somebody that is going to pay for the name. Like you just said, they're going to pay for the name. Hollywood is interesting as long as he knows his role, that he might be the 4th or the 5th look in the offense. But it's also about the price point. And as for Isaiah Likely,
Don't
I
say
said it
that.
last week, and I'll say it again. I don't think he's coming back.
Damn it, Matt.
Um,
I'm gonna knock on wood anyway because I want him. I want Isaiah to be a Raven for life.
and I understand that. So do I. I love Isaiah Likely. I think that he shows tremendous promise.
Yeah,
He
Harbaugh
didn't do himself any
sacrifices.
he didn't do himself any favors turning down the contracts over the offseason last year. He didn't play well this year for a multitude of reasons. He had an injury early on. He rushed back, and he just had a couple mistakes with the ball, and ball security, and then
Yeah.
the touchdown catch that wasn't a catch that the league said ended up being a touchdown earlier this week, which is
Mhm.
absolutely insane. That's a whole another situation in itself.
Right.
Um,
We could
I
have a whole show just about the damn NFL bad calls and
yeah,
shit.
yeah, you're right. I Hollywood's intriguing only if he knows that he's not going to come here and make big money. Because to me, Zay is what they wanted Hollywood to be. And I think they're very similar build, they're very similar skill set. The only difference is that Hollywood Brown takes the top off of defenses with his speed.
Yeah.
Zay's a little bit shiftier in space and a little bit heavier body type wise, but I just feel like they're almost a clone of each other when it comes to what they've done for the Ravens. The
Mhm.
only difference is that the Ravens kept Zay for his 5th year.
Right.
Um, I want to bring up a name defensively. We talked about him a couple minutes ago before the question that came in. Khalil Mack's entering his age 35 season.
Yeah.
He had 5.5 sacks in 11 games last year with 30 pressures on the quarterback. He's a situational guy at this point in his career. He's not an every down, 3 down linebacker anymore. I personally would love to see him here. He's gonna have to get over the fact that he can't wear 52 here. He's worn 52 everywhere he's been. He can't do that here. That's a one and done number here.
Did they retire 52?
Yeah, 52. They haven't issued 52, 20, 75, or 70, 73.
Shit. And they're gonna mess around and not have no jersey numbers.
They've reissued. They've reissued. They haven't issued 55 either since Sizzle was here.
Hmm.
Yeah, they haven't like
Congratulations, fellas. Congratulations, fellas. All those guys are my teammates. It's crazy.
every single one of them.
Mhm.
Every single one of them.
They get 83 out every year. What the fuck?
Hey, you were celebrating what LeJontay Wester getting it last year, man.
Yeah, I'm not mad.
You
at
were
it.
happy as
Trust me.
shit.
I'm not mad at it. I like Wester. I think he's dope. I'm interested to see how his second season is gonna look. He's another guy I didn't even mention earlier that I would love to see the development of him and see what happens with him in the NFL. He was an electrifying player in college.
Yeah, this is an interesting name right here. Joe just brought it up.
Yeah, I saw that.
Debo is interesting. He's not the Debo of the early 2020s. That's for sure. I don't know if he's got it in him physically to be that guy where he's going to run the ball, return punts and kicks, and be a wide receiver. I think that it would be a smart idea to at least kick the tires and see what he wants. But I think he's going back to San Francisco, or he's going to go ring chasing now, and he's going to go to a Kansas City or a Buffalo or a Jacksonville or someplace like that that has
Yeah.
the need for a veteran wide receiver.
Mm.
I just don't know if he would come here. I'm not saying he's the same as AJ Brown, but I feel like that they're both in that point in their career where they want to see the ball still. And I don't think that this isn't the team to come to where you're going to sign here and expect to see mass targets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how he would fit into this offense. I mean, like in order to give him the ball out of the backfield, you got to take the ball out of Keaton Mitchell's hand, out of Derrick Henry's hand, out of Lamar's hands to give him runs from the backfield. At the wide receiver spot, you still got Zay, you still got Mark Andrews, so you taking receptions away from those two guys. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how well he fits in. You know, I love D Hop too. I really wish we could bring D Hop back. You know, I just feel
I
like
would love that.
I feel like we need to give him a bigger role this year and bring him back and let him play more. He should be our third down guy. That's a great question, Joe. That's a great question. I tell you what, if it is scripted, Joe, if the NFL is scripted, the I was a guy that I never gave the script to. So if it is scripted, they didn't give it to me. So if it is, I would think it would be the guys like Ray and Ed and Sis, maybe the quarterbacks, maybe the Derrick Henry types, the Lamar Jackson types. They didn't give it to Wilcox at H back. I can tell you that much.
Hey, I just want to kind of give my 2 cents on that. I know that he addressed it to you, but I think there's a difference between it being rigged and being scripted.
Yeah,
I think to a certain
point shaving.
I think a lot of it has to do with the referees
and the replay people, obviously.
Yeah, I don't believe that there's any scripting in the NFL because there would be too many people that need to know about it. Referees, cameramen, coaches, players, owners. It's way too convoluted, and somebody would tell because all it would take is for one player to get pissed off, and they're blowing the whole thing. Or if there's a physical copy of it or a digital copy, it's always fun to talk about, but it's just way too many moving parts.
Yeah, Joe. What I can tell you, every offense has a script of about 10 to 15 plays to start the game, and those 15 plays are usually it's all scripted. The first 10, 15 plays of the games are scripted. Every single game, both offenses, every team does it. Every OC does it. And you go on script. If everything goes well, you'll stay on that script for the first 10 to 15 plays.
Yeah.
The reason why you do the script, those first 10 to 15 plays, is because you've done everything in your power to scout this team that you're playing. And you know everything they're going to do defensively. So you're just trying to see if they're going to line up against your doubles look, your 3-by-1 looks, your 2-by-2 looks, your tight end package, your 2-back package, your different personnels. You want to see how they're going to line up against those personnels and see if everything that you've studied on film, they're still doing it this week. If they're not doing it, they're doing something different, then you're going to be totally off script after those 10 to 15 plays. If they are doing it, then you're going to try to stay with those plays that you had on script. And your game plan does not get thrown out the window if they're still doing the same thing, which means those teams could either be lazy or that's just their base defense. They're never going to change it. They beat me at me playing my best game or us playing our best defense, but we do check on offense the first 10 to 15 plays. They're all scripted. We already know what it's going to be. Some guys memorize those first 10 plays. Some guys don't. And either way it goes, we're going to call all 10 because all 10 of those plays are usually like different formations, different alignments, and they're all plays that we think we're going to hit our head on the goalpost with. You remember the Buffalo game last year when Derrick Henry got the ball and hit his head on the goalpost the first drive. That was a scripted play that was scripted just for that defense, just for that lineup. They knew that they was going to be outmatched on the right side when they handed the ball off to Henry. When we lined up in this certain formation, they didn't have enough guys over here on the right. So if we blocked it up the right way, it was going to be a wide ass hole and it was going to be an easy touchdown. And that's why he hit his head on the goal, folks. So that's my call out, Joe, to what scripted plays look like.
Huh. Yeah, it's incredible that some NFL players do say that. And I just want everybody to understand, take Dez Bryant with a gigantic grain of salt because Dez is like the ultimate social media troll. The dude says the dude fucks with people constantly. Yeah. And
Dez is one of those people that did say, man, it look like the NFL is off script today.
Yeah. He'll say that in a heartbeat. And then it'll get his engagements up, it'll get his presence up, it'll get his name trending. It's always interesting to like hear fans' takes on that, and we've talked about that off camera. Like the referees definitely sway a lot of these games, and we both think Vegas is completely 100% a part of it because like with all the betting lines that we had to like promote last year on the Believe network. But I'm looking at this list right now on ESPN right now though, Wilcox, and I'm seeing a lot of offensive linemen. There's one offensive lineman that I really like that I hope that we would at least take a swing at, and he's the former Cleveland Browns Pro Bowl guard Wyatt Teller. I think we're
Wyatt
gonna,
Teller.
yeah,
Okay.
I think we're gonna start Emory Jones at one of the guard positions this year. So
Mm-hmm.
that leaves one of the guard spots open. I hope to God we never see Falele in a Ravens uniform ever again. Um,
Yeah.
it's an egregious miscarriage of justice if he's on this team because that's a waste of money. Like if you're
Yeah,
gonna
but
be that bad, you might as well just sign me off the
Matt,
street and let me be bad.
let me play devil's advocate just a little bit with Flele. What happened if it was just bad coaching? And he goes somewhere else and get coached up and he's mauling people next year.
Then I'm gonna be pissed off. I mean,
Bro, we had a lot of bad coaching, bro. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is I was saying it for the last 2-3 years. Like, bro, this is coaching. It's coaching.
yeah,
What's up, Nate? Miss you too, bro.
yeah. I mean, it could be coaching because he was a Pro Bowler with Coach Joe D before he passed away.
Yeah.
So I'll
Yeah.
give you that, and it was a little bit of a fall off after Coach Joe,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately passed away. I'm just curious. I think they're going to end up bringing in a offensive lineman or two. They have to, but they're going to have to get some of these older guys. It's not going to be anybody young. It's going to be somebody in that post 30 age range.
Matt, this
Now,
question just came in from one of our biggest fans. What do you think about this?
if they keep him and they can get the money down,
Yeah.
I'm for that because Marlon is better when he's facing the play as opposed to when his back is to the play. And cornerbacks, as you know, you coached them at one point in your coaching career,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been around the game forever. They play with their back to the
QB.
ball
Yeah.
and to the QB half the time.
They do.
So if Marlon's in a situation where he can, assess the play, he's a ball hawk when he wants to be, and when he's healthy. I just don't think that he's the starting cornerback in the NFL anymore, which is insane to say that, Wilcox, because 2 years ago he was an All-Pro.
Yeah, he was hot 2 years ago, boy. He had a hell of a season. That was his contract year, right?
Right. That it was no, it was he was up for an extension. Yeah, you're right. But we've done this show for 2 years now. This is gonna be our third season together, and we were calling him All-Pro Marlowe on the previous iteration of this show,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're talking about moving him to safety because he can't do it anymore. I don't know if this is a situation where it's a Charles Woodson or a Rod Woodson rebirth.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to it. Is he still going to be a Raven? Because he's counting over 20 million against the cap next year, and for the output of his play, he was a bottom 5, bottom 10 cornerback for all Pro Football Focus eligible, analytics. Tackling, missed tackles. He gave up over 900 receiving yards. I think he gave up close to, double-digit touchdowns. So,
yeah,
you can't pay him that much money. And right. I mean, he, in all fairness, he's been here 10 years.
True.
9-10 years. So it's not like he's a young 20-something cornerback. He's over 30 now. And I don't know if he's that type of guy to make that kind of money and be productive at cornerback. If you move him to safety and let him play in the slot, if you want to put him as that third safety and the 3 safety, look, if they can't, I think they're going to end up keeping Ardarius Washington. I think Gilman's going to get paid by somebody, even though his safety coach is here now. I don't know how you feel about Gilman. We talked about him a little bit last week, but that's iffy to me. I think some team might overpay for his services because of how he played when he got here.
I don't think you let Haloti Gilman go. I think you keep Gilman. I think I think he's a perfect match back there with Kyle Hamilton. I don't think Marlon could play safety better than Gilman is playing safety for us right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, my thing is, what I do like about Marlon is Marlon does come downhill. He will be physical, he will come and hit you. You
Yeah.
know, and he's a 210-pound, 6 foot, safe corner right now. That so you move him to safety, that's a pretty decent sized safety next to Kyle Hamilton. So
Mhm.
they look very intimidating. 44 and 14 back there. I just don't know how well he moves at this point. He just looked different this year to me for some reason. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I mean, he was banged
I'm
up a little bit. I'm not making excuses for him.
yeah, I'm not sure if his heart is still in the game though. You remember all the arguments we've had, all the conversations we've had this season over the podcast, and how you was crashing out about the podcast most of the
Mhm.
season. I just don't know if his heart's in football anymore. I think he's already kind of ready to transition on to something else. So I'm not 100% sure that he still wants to pour everything he got into this sport. And this is one of those sports, Matt. You can't cheat it. You can't cheat the sport, man. If you ain't all in, it's gonna show up really, really fast. I felt like last year he wasn't all in, and that's why he got his ass tore up the way he did.
And that's an honest critique of Marlon. If the way you break it down, it makes perfect sense
Yeah,
that he's kind of checking out. I mean, he's made his millions. He's on his
yeah,
third contract with the Ravens.
he is.
He got the initial rookie deal. He got the big money. Then they, gave him the rework deal. So he's seen well over $100 million from the Ravens in the last 10 years. So the man has his money. And if he wants to be a social media personality and one of these guys like
Mm-hmm.
a Jeff Teague or a Gilbert Arenas or Ryan Clark or Channing Crowder, where you want to be that social media guy, he has every right in the book to do that, which is it's cool. But you can obviously tell that his mind was other places this year,
Yeah,
and he was kind of tone deaf with a little bit of it.
yeah. I agree. We just had Dion ask a question about Malachi Starks with Marlon moving to safety, with that limit his reps at safety or his progression at safety. So I'm not 100% sure how it's going to go. To be honest with you, I kind of forgot about Malachi. Like I felt like he had some moments where he kind of showed up, but most of the time last year, it seemed like he was kind of quiet for most of the season.
Okay.
He made some plays, he made some big plays here and there, especially towards the end stretch of the season. He had a couple of big picks and stuff, but most of the game, it's like you almost don't hear his name. And I think it's because Gilman played so well, and then moving Cal down inside played so well, and keeping all three of them on the field, I think played to our advantage. But I don't know what the new defense is going to look like at all. I don't really know what to expect. I just know it's going to be a 3-4, and it's going to be physical as shit. I don't know what they're going to do on the back end. And I know they're going to have some guys standing up around the line of scrimmage. I don't know who's going to be standing up, who's going to be down. I don't know what it's going to look like. I think only time will tell whether or not Malachi will continue to develop, and what he does this offseason will determine whether or not he really is serious about this game as well. Because it's so easy in this game to take a month off, and that month will not set you up for greatness. So that month off will not set you up for greatness. So if you really love this game and you're really serious about it, you kind of got to jump right back into it. I've had some off seasons where I came home and I chilled for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever, and then I had some off seasons. As soon as the season was over with, I took a week vacation, and then I was right back in the gym, right back running the whole 9 yards, and that was it. So I mean, it just depends, man, where your heart is and where your mind is. The real great ones, they never take a break. As soon as the season over with, even on vacation, they working out, they running on the beach, they doing whatever they got to do, but they training. That's the great ones. The real great ones never take a damn break, and they already thinking about beating their opponent ass next year.
I wanted to ask you a question while we're on the topic of the defense and the safeties. Um, I saw this online, and I was going to ask you on camera. Um, with the uncertainty at middle linebacker and inside linebacker, with Roquan getting a year older, Teddy
Mm-hmm.
Buchanan tore his ACL, Trenton Simpson looked like he came into his own. Do you think it would serve the Ravens better if they went to Kyle Hamilton and they just said, "Put on 20 pounds. We're gonna play you in the front seven. We're gonna move you around, and then instead of playing at 6'4" and 220, he's playing at 6'4" and 240." and you make him a pseudo pass rush outside linebacker kind of hybrid, like a joker, so to speak, around the line of scrimmage, and then you really just kind of put the safety specialists back there that are have a little bit more ball skills. He has a nose for finding the man carrying the ball as opposed to finding the ball in the air. At least from what we've seen the first 3 or 4 years of Hamilton's career. What do you think about that?
You know, I'm not mad at it, Matt, but he's such a dynamic player. It's like, how do you change a dynamic player? It's like telling Dion to put on 20 pounds and play linebacker. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I don't know. He's such a dynamic player. Like, I don't feel at 220, he's so fluid, he's so smooth, he's so flexible, he's so explosive at 220. Adding another 20 pounds to him, I don't know how that affects him. I would just tell him to get strong as shit. We're gonna play you everywhere. You know, get your ass in the gym, lift, be explosive. You know, just work on those, you know, plyometric movements and all those things that help you be more explosive and get off the ball and keep developing your fast twitch and work on your speed, because he's such a versatile player. Like it's like telling Eric Reed you're gonna change him. It's like telling Deion Sanders you're gonna change him. He's an alien. He's like Victor Wembanyama in basketball now.
I hear what you're saying, but
he's such an alien, bro. Like,
Ed wasn't. Ed and Dion weren't physical specimens the way.
I don't know about that. Now, Ed was a damn.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that he wasn't. No. Don't. I know you play with both those guys. I know you fight with both those guys. I'm not saying that. And they're two Hall of Famers. They're the best that ever did it at their positions. And that's the beginning and the end of that statement.
Yeah.
But Ed Reed was a 6 foot, 215-pound safety. You know, that's a prototype for the position called for during your era of football.
Right.
Everybody wasn't a Sean Taylor or a Cam Chancellor running around in safety like that.
I mean, it's the same thing as telling Sean Taylor or Cam Chancellor to move the linebacker. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to put 10, 15 more pounds on you, move you to linebacker. But you know how dynamic Sean Taylor was? Ed came off the edge on punt, block punts, scored touchdown, return punts, kicks, scored touchdowns, played safety, picked that shit off, scored touchdown, came downhill, knocked people fucking blocks off at safety. He's a dynamic-ass, explosive-ass player. You know, to try to change who he is crazy. Just develop what he is, I think, and just continue to push him and let him be dynamic, you know. And I think the best coaches learn how to use their players and not trying to change them. They learn how to use them to the best of their ability. Find out what their strengths are and put them in positions for them to be at their best every single time. That's what great coaches do. That's what I think, you know. So that's what made Adalius Thomas so fucking good for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like, Rex Ryan used him in every single aspect that he could use him in.
You weren't talking about an alien. He was it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't, you know, I can't see putting 20 pounds on Kyle and then having him do anything different than what he's already doing. He's so dynamic, so fluid, so smooth, so flexible. He get to the, he can almost get his chest like parallel to the ground and be 2 feet off the ground, running around the edge and dip a lineman and still come back in and make the tackle. He's fast, twitchy, explosive. He's all the things that you need a great safety to be. And he's long and rangy on top of that. You know, that's even more of his gift and more of his blessings, that he's long and rangy. So to me, I think he needs to kind of stay where he is, you know, just work on getting strong as shit so that when he do shock people, they can feel that shit. He can just really dominate his opponent. And I think that's what made James Harrison so freaking good. You know, he was just so freakishly strong, and it translated to the field. A lot of guys are freakishly strong and shit don't translate, you know, but he was able to translate his strength to the field. He put his hands on you, you felt them. Like, it didn't matter that you was 300 pounds and he was only 260. You know, he put his hands on your ass. You felt every single muscle fiber that he had in his damn body.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it was just an interesting thing that I saw, and I'm glad that you know, because you know that was
a great question.
Yeah, it was a great breakdown. You know, it's you know, talk like just going back to Adalius for a second. I know that you guys were teammates for a long time.
Yeah,
I think you guys were teammates for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I remember one year he took a snap at every position on defense. He was lined up a corner. He was at free. He was at strong. He played every linebacker position. He lined up at nose tackle. And I mean, that's what got him paid with the Patriots. And
It did.
he's now passing along that knowledge at Colorado. And speaking of Colorado, I saw, I don't know if this was true or not, but I saw that Warren Sapp might not be back on the coaching staff this year.
I saw that too. I heard somebody parted ways with Sapp. Deion parted ways with Warren Sapp.
Yeah, I didn't see like any national publication pick that up. I mean, I know it's just a coaching move, but
yeah, if Deion had to sit down at the table and eat with Sapp, then that's probably why he cut him.
Grow up.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, Deion was super picky about people he sat down and ate with. You eat with your mouth open, he ain't eat with you no more. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Sapp definitely eats with his mouth open, smacking the whole 9 yards.
Jesus Christ. We're not going to tear anybody down. There's no games going on. We're not tearing anybody down, Wilcox.
My bad. I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask you about this potential wide receiver. I know we're bouncing around a little bit. Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
You think the Ravens should?
No.
No. Okay.
Absolutely not.
What about the kid from Seattle that was traded by the New Orleans Saints, Rashid Shaheed, the kick returner and the wide receiver?
I think we already got him. We already got him on our team already.
You think that's Wester?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not really looking at any of the running backs that are available.
Mm-hmm. What about the Walker kid from Seattle?
He's going to get paid big money. If Seattle doesn't pay him big money, somebody's going to give him a lot.
I mean, is anybody really paying running backs a lot of money right now?
He's the Super Bowl MVP. I think he's going to get it just on that. Just on that, though.
I'm just saying, though, Matt. Like, is anybody paying running backs a lot of money right now?
We are.
Who? Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are getting paid a lot of money.
How much?
I think they're both hovering around 15 to 20 million.
I mean, that's decent for a running back. I mean, I just don't feel like that's big time money. Like it used to be. Like running backs was getting paid like cream of the crop back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of money right now. But it's big money for the running backs right that are getting paid right now. I don't know if he's going to get that type of money though. This is
a good question right here from Joe. I love Trent Williams too. I think Trent Williams is probably this generation's best left tackle.
Yeah, he's the Jonathan Ogden of this time.
But if the San Francisco 49ers part ways with him, he's going to have 25 teams lining up ready to pay him big money. Yeah, and I don't see the Ravens.
We got to cut everybody to get him.
But here's the thing about Trent Williams, though.
Go ahead.
If you sign Trent, what do you do with Ronnie?
Stanley?
I mean, do you move Ronnie to right tackle and then kick Rosengarten into guard? I mean,
that sounds like all right, Matt. Shit, we need to get you on the staff, bro. Shit, that was a good move.
That could work.
That was a good move just now. I like that. I like moving Rosengarten inside. He was a guard anyway at first, right?
At first, and then he became a tackle.
Right. Yeah. Move him inside.
I think Rosengarten's an all-pro guard. He's an all-pro guard to me. Just based on his run blocking ability alone. I like Trent Williams, but that's not going to happen. That's a pipe dream, Joe. I understand that.
Yeah.
There's another comment in it. Oh, Nate, he wants a story time. Now the thing is, with it being the off season, with free agency starting next week, we could probably fit a story time in there. But the thing is, Wilcox isn't going to name names. He might tell stories, but there's certain things that you just leave in the NFL locker room, right, Wilcox?
Well, it's bad because I don't remember everything. I wish I did. If I had a vivid memory like a lot of my teammates do, I would have story. I would be like Charlie Murphy in this bitch. Charlie Murphy, True Hollywood Stories. I promise you to be Daniel Wilcox, True NFL Stories. I'll be telling them motherfuckers left and right. But my memory is just not that good. Like it sometimes some of it comes back when it gets triggered by other guys telling stories and stuff that happened. But most of the time I'm scratching my head like, bro, I do not remember that. Like I wish I can give you story time like crazy. It's bits and pieces of things I remember. I remember going to breakfast with Deion every day when he was here, So I remember going to breakfast with him. and we ate breakfast almost every single morning together. If somebody ate with their mouth closed, he'd be like, "Dog, God dang," he would be like, "Bro, what you doing?" Like, no, I'm never eating breakfast with you again. I'm never eating with you again. So he eat with people that he feel like are great conversation, and then people that he feels like he's comfortable with, and he want to spend that time with, and he don't want to be interrupted by how you eat or you smacking or eating with your mouth open and all that type of stuff.
Right.
He's big on manners at the table. So
Now,
I remember those things for some reason.
Now I will say this though. In
Right.
the 2 years plus that we've done this show, when we had our weekly guests on a lot last year,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of your former teammates were on here, some of the stuff that we talked about off camera
Yeah,
would probably have made us go viral, but it was just not appropriate for being on air.
it wasn't. Yeah,
Chris
for sure.
McAllister
Yeah,
had a Mustang GT golf cart delivered to his house while we were filming, and
Yeah.
he rode around and talked to us on it. Off air. That was a good time.
yeah, that was
Jared
funny.
Johnson was a good time off camera. Bart Scott made fun of me relentlessly off camera.
He did.
That was
He did.
some of those were good.
Yeah, Bart gave you a nickname, Powder.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I heard that at work for about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a wild week, man. That was a wild week at work.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've talked about that though, Joe or Nate. I'm sorry, Nate. We've talked about that, Nate. Possibly doing a story time, but I think it'd be better if we actually got a couple of your teammates on here. We might have that in the works. That's always a possibility. But it's a lot coming up now. We're a week away from the NFL free agency period. We're a month and a half away from the NFL draft, so we're gonna be covering guys that the Ravens could possibly take at pick 14. Never leave it up to Eric to possibly trade up or down or trade out of the first round completely and piss everybody off. Because I've sat up and waited for us to pick many a nights in my teenage years, Will Cox, and then it says the Baltimore Ravens have traded out of the first round, or they trade back to 30 or whatever it is. But there's a lot going on. We got some mini camps coming up. We got some, the rookies, OTAs, and all that stuff. So we'll try and fit some story time in there, Nate. It's always good having some guys on there. Will Cox always comes through with his former teammates, to come through and show some love. But before we wrap this show, Will Cox, I did want to ask you this: what do you think? What do you think is going to be the Ravens' surprise free agency move? Do you think it's going to be a free agent signing, or do you think it's going to be a trade for somebody?
That's a great question. I think we have players of value, so I think a trade would be more likely than a free agent pickup. But I just think it's so easy to grab guys in free agency. I think we're going to lose some guys that everybody wanted to have back. If we lose Tyler Linderbaum, I'm gonna be sick to my stomach. I just don't even think I can't fathom him not being a Raven next year. But I think that could go either way, Matt. What do you think? I really do think it can go either way.
I believe it's going to be a trade. I don't think that right now we don't have the monetary resources to sign Trey Hendrickson or sign a Jalen Phillips or a big name wideout or a big name edge guy or a big name interior lineman. So I believe it's going to be a trade. I want to say my hope is we bring in Max Crosby somehow. That's my hope.
That shit been bouncing around for a while, Matt.
It's been bouncing around for a while, but that's my hope.
Who's he talking about? Is he talking about Zeitler?
He's talking about Zeitler.
Okay.
He was in Tennessee last year.
Gotcha. Tennessee.
My hope is Crosby. My fear is AJ Brown.
How please explain to me how we would be able to get a Crosby. Like how is that even fathomable? I just don't think that's fathomable for us to be able to grab a Max Crosby. I don't think what do we have to offer Vegas that they would give us him?
Well, that's a good question, and I thought about that too. And I've seen like projected like trades. I think it would definitely cost us the 14th overall pick as a baseline. You're probably tossing in
Would you give up a 14th pick for him?
if
That's a pick that could possibly change your entire franchise.
right. And the thing
Would you?
is, if 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 they could guarantee Crosby would be here for 4 to 5 years,
Mhm.
I'd do it. But what it's going to cost,
Nobody can guarantee that, though.
I use the Micah Parsons trade as a baseline. They gave up a premier. Green Bay gave up a premier defensive tackle. No matter what anybody says, I think his name's Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is a monster nose tackle.
Yeah,
And then they gave up 2 first-round picks.
I wouldn't
So
do that. I wouldn't do that for Crosby.
No. So you're going to talking about having to give up a premier player at a position that the Raiders need. You're not going to trade Lamar Jackson to get Max Crosby because that's counterproductive.
Stupid, yeah.
You're not going to trade Derrick Henry. You're not going to trade Zay Flowers. You're not going to trade Mark Andrews. You're not going to trade.
Oh, would you trade Mark Andrews and get Likely? Give you the opportunity to keep Likely.
They don't need Mark Andrews. They got Brock Bowers.
You're right. They do got Brock Bowers.
So they don't. And they don't need any of our offensive linemen. They would.
Nobody needs any of our offensive linemen.
Correct. So now you're looking at on the defensive side of the ball, you're not going to trade Travis Jones after you just gave him a 3-year contract extension. You're not. They could maybe Roquan Smith could get it done, but then you're looking for a middle linebacker and solving your edge problem. So you're making one hole in your defense while filling another.
And he's arguably your leader of your defense.
Correct. You're not trading Kyle Hamilton. And does Marlon Humphrey move the needle for a trade? Maybe you could package Marlon and Bateman in a first, and maybe a second next year and get it done, or a second this year and next year's first to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of moving parts. I don't think it's going to happen. A lot of people want it to happen, but Crosby also makes a shit ton of money, and that's what people are forgetting.
Yeah.
You could get rid of Marlon Humphrey's contract, but you're adding about 5 to 10 million, bringing in a Max Crosby. So my fear is it's going to be AJ Brown, and it's going to completely change the dynamic of the offense in the locker room.
Yeah, I don't think AJ Brown is an option. I don't think they're going to make that move at all.
Yeah, but that's my fear. I don't hate AJ Brown, but I just don't think it's suitable for us.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening. I don't see Eric DeCosta and the brain that he has, and he's always talking about, is this guy Raven? How did he fit in our locker room? I can't see them sitting around, all them scouts, all those coaches sitting around the table talking about AJ Brown and saying that he's the perfect fit for this offense. That's what we're missing.
Drew's right. I mean, he's been a problem everywhere he goes.
I agree.
I mean, Drew, we talked about Trey Henderson, and that makes sense. More so than Max Crosby because it's not going to cost you any.
He's the kid at Cincy, right? The one that Mark Stephon?
No, that was Sam Hubbard. He retired.
Hubbard, got you.
Yeah, Hendrickson is the one that doesn't wear the gloves. He just wears the finger tape.
Got you.
And it all depends. If they can get this deal worked out with Lamar, I think our free agency opens up tremendously. But a lot of what Lamar can open up is probably going to be eaten up by Tyler Linderbaum if he stays. I don't have confidence because if Eric DeCosta made him a market-setting deal, that means Linderbaum wants more. And that's just me personally. So, yeah, I don't really know about that, but that'll do it for this free agency preview show. Thank you everybody for tuning in and for asking questions and giving us suggestions and letting Daniel reminisce about his playing days and the all field camaraderie stuff. We'll be back when the start of free agency. If the Ravens make any big splashes with a trade or a free agent signing, we'll be back to cover that. But we will be previewing, or we'll be, covering free agency starting next week. Wilcox, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on X at Coach Wilcox, on IG at Daniel.Wilcox. Matt, where can they find you, sir?
You can find me on IG at mtrig89, X mtrigwbp. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, set your notifications for We Bleed Purple podcast. On YouTube, we have a Instagram as well. You can find us on TikTok with our shorts and our reels that we're tagged in. So that'll do it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys at the start of free agency.
Don't forget to go to YouTube and like and subscribe and submit We Bleed Purple podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bird Gang out.